Yo, we're here with our locals winner. Josh is going to take us through his BlackWarGreymon build.
Alright, so what I got here is not your typical BlackWarGreymon build. This is a black-based BlackWarGreymon. I'm inspired to keep it thematic with the whole virus attribute theme, so hence why I went with the black route. Now your Digi-Eggs are always going to be the 4 of the BT11 Greymon. Your opponent's turn, once per turn, when a Digimon is deleted, draw 1 card. Depending on the matchup, you get really good value out of this. So if Cross-Up, for example, they swing into your security and die in, you always get to draw 1. And surprisingly, drawing on your opponent's turn is quite effective, because that sets up your next play for your next turn, appropriate counter. 4 of them. And then my rookie lineups, quite limited, but 3 blocker Argumon from the structure deck, 3 of the Argumon X from BT11, 3 of the toy Argumons, which get inherited reboot, and 3 of the BT8 Searcher Argumons. I argue this is probably the best searching Argumon in the entire game, because it's revealed top 4, had a card with Greymon, and a card with Dragonkin in its trait. So that searches your level 4s and 5s, and your level 6s, which is completely crazy, because this is what you need to build up your stack. Argumon X is a great card as well. On play reveal top 3, add a Greymon and X anybody, Greymon or X anybody, and a Black Tamer. So if you're missing your Black Tamers, you definitely search out for them. And it's got inherited protection. All turns, when it be removed by effect, you can simply remove an X anybody to the bottom of the deck and prevent it. Really great. This is the blocker Argumon, quite good. Unfortunately, in this current format, you are quite limited on black Argumons, so this is kind of what I play around. But this is sort of the ratio I'm playing around with. I might swap out this Argumon to get more searches and less consistency on the toy Argumon, because Argumon X can Digivolve on top of these 2, just not the toy Argumon. I'm still playing around with ratios, but this is sort of the number I'm happy with.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like an Agumon toolbox.
Essentially, well, tries to be. It's very less consistent than red, unfortunately, but I find it more fun because it's less predictable.
I love the black Agumon though, as you said. Best searcher.
Beautiful.
So good.
Now, the level 4s. 4 of the Greymon X, this is your engine. That's what you absolutely run 4 of. I run 2 of the structure deck Greymon, virus type, and 4 of the blocker Greymon for BT8. So this is both your protection and your sort of acceleration return, because when you devolve into your level 5s, the cost is reduced by each number of the card. So you digivolve in your BT8 Greymons, they're reduced by 2, so it's quite literally stupid how you can digivolve from a level 4 to a level 5. Very strong, plus protection effect, same as Argumon X. So you can stack them and be really hard to get rid of. This is here just for the Greymon filler, so Greymon X can digivolve on top of these 2. End of your opponent's turn, if they didn't attack, draw 1. This came up quite a bit, however I'm still iffy about whether this Greymon over the BT1, BT2 Greymon, which gives jamming when the Digimon is reboot. I think it's quite good, considering your high ends have reboot naturally.
True.
So I might swap this out for the jamming Greymon, but we'll see how we go. And this is the blocker Greymon. When you have a red Digimon in play, this Digimon gains blocker on your opponent's turn. This is quite good. You naturally need blocker on the field, so when you Digivolve Greymon X, the Greymon X becomes a blocker. And it's quite stupid for that reason. So that's my ratios for that one. And then for level 5s, I run 2 of the BT3 Metal Greymon, 3 BT8 Metal Greymons, and 3 Metal Greymon X's. So this one naturally has reboot, and the inherited effect is if it has reboot, security attack +1. 2 out of your 3 level 6s I run have reboot, so this is going to be swinging for an extra check, which is quite silly. Metal Greymon is honestly a really great card in the staple, so Digivolve for 2 on top of the Greymon X. Digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon and delete something with 3000 DP or less. So this is great for getting rid of floodgates and all those annoying pesky cards. Metal Greymon X anybody is arguably probably the best card in the deck, because it digivolves on top of any of these for 1. It gives protection against DP reduction and de-digivolving. That came up in my matches against Machine Digimon quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
And when Digivolve X anybody in the source or Metal Greymon, delete something with 6000 DP or less. That's quite a big jump from DP from this to that. And the inherited effect is actually what makes it so strong. During your opponent's turn, when a Digimon unsuspends, if it has Greymon or Omnimon in the name, trash top card of your opponent's security. For that, detrashing effect is absolutely bonkers. Everything's got reboot, most things got reboot.
Yeah.
It's just being able to do 3 checks, unsuspend, trash top card of your opponent's security, absolutely silly. So I'm thinking of running maybe 4, but I quite like 3 in this. But I might swap out this one. See how we go. Your level 6s, they are the 3 BlackWarGreymon X's, 1 Garamon, and 3 BlackWarGrey. I'm playing around with ratios at the moment, but I mainly want to see BlackWarGreymon before I see any of these cards. But BlackWarGrey is a great delete anything with a play cost 6 or less, Digimon and Tamers, as long as you have a red and a black source. In this deck, you will. So that's quite an easy feat to pull off. And all turns, when an opponent's Digimon is deleted, unsuspend its Digimon. So it triggers with the Greymon X inherited, and it can also just great way to get rid of small bodies on the board and just control the board much better than the red base can. One of the Garamon. So this has got repeat, security attack +1, and when Digivolving, Digivolve 1 and Blitz. This is quite silly when you're pairing it with the right stack. So the Gem and Greymon that I might put in, plus the security attack +1 Metal Greymon, I'm swinging for 3 checks with Gem and nothing's going to stop that. It's quite silly. This is probably the main boss monster, BlackWarGreymon X. So it's all the effects are on your opponent's turn. Essentially when you unsuspend, delete something with the lowest DP, something like that. And another one is just redirect into target, so you can both block and redirect. Right. It's really stupidly strong. I think the high ends are what makes this deck really good. So this is sort of my ratios at the moment. And then I run the one of the Omnimon Zord. This is just to keep it thematic and interesting. I quite like running an Omnimon in any Greymon thematic deck just for lore reasons. But the reason I play this is trash top 3 and play anything from trash. Play 2 of the Metal Greymons, play 2 of any sort of 8 cost or less from my trash for free. So if I want to Digivolve an opponent's Digimon, play a Metal Greymon, Greymon X, Digivolve that for 2, just control the board much better. This came up only once in my games, but I was down to 4 cards in the deck and wasn't comfortable playing this. But I might drop this out for another level 6, but I run the one of. I guess Tamers. I think Tamers are quite generic, so I just run the 3 Iya, 3 Cool Boys. Cool Boy is should be probably restricted. On play reveal top 2 and X anybody and an option card. The other one is when Digivolving into Digimon same level, draw 1, gain 1 memory. Quite stupid, really powerful for the Greymon X because it makes it free instead of 1, and that can keep your turn sometimes. Yuya is both the memory blocker, also the protection and the DP buff in this deck. This Tamer can do so much. So when Digivolve into a Greymon, it's +2k till the end of your opponent's turn, so it gives your blocker more DP. But if it's the same level, it also protects against option cards until the end of your opponent's turn.
So correct.
It's quite silly. So if you're in the Master Digimon matchup, you don't have to fear Chaos Segregation.
Oh yeah,
so
that's huge.
It's quite silly.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
No, until the end of your opponent's turn as well.
Yeah, it's like the first deck that can not care about Chaos.
Exactly.
Or de-Digivolve because of the metal.
Exactly right. And the last 3 options, so I have 3 X Anybody, staple. Essentially you kind of need them in any X Anybody deck. And I run just the 2 Hades Force. I feel comfortable doing this because I have 3 BlackWarGreys. But essentially this is Tamer removal. So my matches up today were Crosshard, Examon, and Machinimon, and this was a lifesaver against Crossheart. Just
yes,
getting
it
rid
was.
of absolutely just like limit the amount of play they can do.
I was the Crossheart player.
It felt so good, but it felt so bad. But for a 5 cost, just delete anything up to, if you have a Metal Greymon on the board, 13 play costs. It's so stupid.
It's crazy good.
But I run 2 just to keep it sort of in security, but also if I need to see it in my hand, that's where I kind of want to see it. But those are sort of my black-based WarGreymon deck.
Awesome. Well, congrats on the win. Hope you win another local soon.
Right, thank you.